Hi, this is my review of Paladins. Paladins is often thought of as a free-to-play Overwatch. I decided to give it a review. Paladins, at its core, is a hero class shooter with a slight twist. You can make decks of cards to give you a slight edge. Now, on to the main beef of the game. It is a free-to-play game, so it does have a cash shop. However, the items in the cash shop are mostly cosmetic and for character appearance. To be able to get currency to spend in the cash shop, you of course have to spend your own money. In the end, there's nothing in the shop to give someone an edge over another. There are boosters which give you a buff to your account, mostly to help level your account faster. Other than that, there's no quick way to win type of items, which is a good thing, at least in my opinion. So play to win is not a thing here. Although you do need to look at the prices and decide if you're going to spend the amount they want just to get those sexier skins. The prices, in my opinion, are a bit high for what you can get, and I would appreciate if they would be lowered, but I also understand this is a free-to-play game, and so they do need to make money somehow and somewhere. That being said, the cosmetic items are not poorly made, and they are actually a nice, twist to a character. So far, there aren't quite a lot of high-tier skins, but the game is still in beta, so I can't wait to see what the creative team on HiRez will think of next. The card system, in my opinion, is very interesting, and this is what gives Paladins a twist over Overwatch. Um, it is like other hero class shooters, but you need to build a deck with your characters. And to build a deck is easy enough, and the cards aren't game changing to a point where one champion is better than the other champions. Of course, certain decks are more strong than other decks, but in the whole, it's about how you play, and it caters to different play styles, and it allows you to build a deck around how you play that champion, not just, oh, this is the best deck out there, play this way. Well, yes, there are certain decks that will have better advantages over other decks because they do buff and nerf cards, every couple patches. I do say that it is nice of them to add this twist because otherwise I wouldn't play certain heroes unless they had this twist to it, because it lets me play the way I want to play. So, good on you, HiRez. Now, onto the game modes. You have casual modes which include capture points, pushing a payload, and just recently they added a new one called survival. Capture points is where you capture a point and usually you get a payload. Yeah, I think that's how it works now. Sorry, I just remember in the beginning of the beta they had where you would have to just capture points and that was it. But I think now what they have is you capture the point, you get a payload, and you push it as far as you can go. Then they have payloads, which is just a payload. You have more credits. You can buy I should have put this in with the cards. So what you do is you buy extra items. You press I to look at your items, and you can get things that will help you against another enemy team. It's sort of like if you played a MOBA, you can build against the enemy team, and it helps you get an advantage there. So payload, you start with more credits to buy items. One team sits out front while the other needs to push the payload. Basically, that's what capture is like, except first you need to capture a point, and I think there's more rounds in capture than payload. Survival is 5 or 4 rounds, I'm not quite sure, I don't play it much, but you have a team and the goal is to, be the last team standing. It's a death match, but slowly this encroaching fog comes in, and if you're outside the arena, it will kill you. It's one-shotting. So you want to, it's slowly, the more people who are alive, you slowly have to move to the center of the arena as the fog comes in. I find this mode very stressful at times because people will get very angry if they're not winning. This is where the rage is really induced, is in survival, I've noted. You can play a competitive mode, but you need to have at least 12 heroes at level 4, which is unlike Overwatch, which allows you to join competitively at any given time that you want. I kind of prefer it this way because you have to get to know at least 12 different heroes, and to get to level 4 you have to play them for a little bit to get used to what they do, how they do it, and it gives you a bigger pool to choose from when it comes to competitive, unlike Overwatch, where I notice now that a lot of people will just focus on playing maybe 1 or 2 heroes, and that's not the point of a hero class shooter like Overwatch. You're meant to switch out because you're meant to change strategy. That's the whole thing. You're meant to use your brain and think. Now, Paladins does not allow you to switch your hero in the middle of a game, but I find that if you build a team that works well together, it usually works out for the benefit of your team versus the enemy team if they did not build that well. You definitely want to read through the items and the cards to select what you want to counter build, because that is where this game really shines, is counter building. I enjoy that they added this element, and this is also what makes it different from Overwatch. It is not an Overwatch clone, but we'll get onto that later with my overall, consensus of this game. Now, they do have hero classes, which, are the general classes: support, damage, a flanking class, and a frontline. Damage and flanking heroes do mainly the same thing, they just play differently. While a flanking character will mostly focus on getting behind enemy lines and taking out, say, the enemy team's supports, the damage characters will usually be with the front line up and trying to, burst down the other front line. Pretty simple, straightforward. Support heroes, also pretty simple. They mainly stay in the back, and the DPS is not poor on them at all. You can kill people. They are not defenseless. But they are for people who prefer to hang out in the back and support the team. If you're a person who wants to get right up in the thick of it all, frontlining is probably what you want to do. But I noticed that the one thing that's lacking, and this is in all hero-based class shooters, just not even that, just any game where it has different, tanks, supports, damage. I have a harder time finding people who actually want to play a frontline character. I don't know why this is. I find, like, in Overwatch, there aren't a lot of people who enjoy playing Reinhardt or enjoy playing Zarya, or, just those really good front lines who are really powerful. And in this game, you have some characters that, are really nice to have. Like, Fernando is kind of like Reinhardt, but you hardly see anyone wanting to play him. Now, if you're going to get into this game, just be prepared to notice that you might have to fill in when you want to play a damage character. Maybe, you're going to have to play a front line because you want to keep that team even, because I guarantee you, if you don't have a well-built team, you will have a much harder time than the enemy team if they do. That's all I have to really say about hero classes in this game. Alright, so here's my overall here. Paladins isn't a bad game, and the cash shop can be annoying at times, but I am one who doesn't want to spend extra cash on cosmetics anymore. But that also is its saving grace. Since this game is free to play, you really don't need to spend any money at all to get ahead in any way. As someone who's enjoyed HiRez's other games, such as Smite, and I played Tribes for a while, but Smite is where I mostly spent most of my time when I first got into HiRez's games. This game is a welcomed addition to the roster, and it's a hero shooter that I can relax more in than Overwatch, since I find the casual seem to be just that. It's very casual. There is no voice system in this game, which is a blessing, but it can also be a curse, because I wouldn't want to listen to some of the people that play, because I get annoyed in Overwatch where I end up leaving voice channels or muting people. But in Paladins, there's not much team coordination because you have to use you have to be like VV, F or something like that, just to kind of coordinate with your team. And it's a bit clunky because it is a shooter and you're trying to aim and fight and tell your team what to, help coordinate the fight. So that's one thing that's a bit lacking here if you are more into coordinating and being able to talk to your team. Paladins gets a bad reputation because it's coined as an Overwatch clone. I think they did a fine with the systems they added, and since it is free to play, there is a nice release of pressure. I can just pick it up whenever I want to, never have to spend any money on it. The player base is a bit smaller than Overwatch, but I don't mind that either. I just wish more people enjoyed frontlining and supporting. But that's for like all hero-based shooters and all MOBAs really. But then again, I see why most people want to also play damage characters, because seeing those numbers is really satisfying. I think if you enjoy Overwatch, you could enjoy Paladins. You just have to go in there with a casual mindset. It's not about being the best in Paladins, it's about relaxing. Generally, after I play competitive in Overwatch, I will go play Paladins because I need something to relax me. Competitive stresses me out so much because I want to win, I want to, climb up my ranks. But in Paladins, I'm not playing competitive mode. I'm not trying to. I'm just playing what I want to play and I have fun. Yes, I lose at times, but it's not as devastating as Overwatch because it's just me. There's nobody chatting to me with voice chat. There's nobody typing to me. It's just me, my music, and maybe, a blunt. That's about all. Overall, HiRez, thank you for this game. I enjoyed playing it, and I hope that if anybody else is listening to this, you will give it a chance and enjoy it too, because it's not a bad game, and it does have its own unique twist on things, and it is not an Overwatch clone. It's just in the same genre as Overwatch. Thank you for listening.
No, it's too late.